On this episode, we discuss the New Year resolutions we made in the first show of 2024 to see how well we did.
So if you're like us and have a resolve to improve your connection with Bangkok and maybe fail, you'll love this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee krap, and welcome to the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Bangkok in 2001 to start a Farang boy band, but in the 23 years it's taken to get off the ground, it's now turned into a Rolling Stones cover band.
That sounds about right. Like the age level and everything, it sounds perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm Ed Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a 1-year teaching contract 24 years ago, fell in love with people assuming I'm a world traveler simply because I live overseas, so I never left.
That's so funny. I still get added to lists and emails and like, hey, world traveler or digital nomad.
I just get credit, since I was just back home. And it's, we've talked many times before about how for people who haven't left home, it is a big deal for us to live overseas. But especially in my case, because I don't travel that much, I feel like I'm getting extra credit I don't deserve.
That's right. That's like when someone says, what's a great hotel to stay at? I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't live in a hotel. I don't use hotels here.
All right. We want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind the scenes photos of our interviews, a heads up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Greg, and other listeners around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we chatted about IT vendor JIB being almost too efficient with Greg's order, a review of the iconic Charuchuk weekend market after a recent visit, which neither of us has been to in years, and discussions about a great video that shows the evolution of Bangkok's transit lines from two little baby greenies to a sprawling network that will eventually, hopefully, have over 700 kilometers of track. To learn how to become a patron and get all this good stuff, plus full access to over 700 bonus and regular back episodes, click the support button at the top of our website.
Look at that. We could say that by the year 2035, Bangkok's rail network will have 1 kilometer of track for every episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
There you go.
That's right. And if you have a comment, a show idea, or just want to say hi, head to BangkokPodcast.com. Click the little microphone button on the bottom right to leave us a voicemail that we'll play on the show and listen to the end. We have a voicemail from one of our listeners to entertain and delight. And before we get started, Ed, check this out. I had a very nice dinner with one of our pals, our patron, Dr. Daniel. He was in town, and you may have remembered the gift he brought us last year. Well, he upped his game this year, and I've got a gift that I'm going to give to you next time I see you. Check this out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That looks delicious. Hazelnut liqueur.
Haselnuss Spiritus. Hazelnut spirits.
Excellent.
38% alcohol volume. This stuff is really delicious gasoline. So Dr. Daniel bought 2 bottles over, one for me, one for you.
Nice.
And
thank you, sir.
Just shows you how
much appreciated.
Just shows you much appreciated, Daniel, and it just goes to show you how much of a good friend I am, because I could not have shown you this at all and just had it for myself.
There you go. Thank you. Thanks to you.
Thanks to me and thanks to Daniel.
Yep.
All right. On this episode, we are going to dive right into the new year with a little bit of introspection. Now, listeners who have been with us for a while may remember that in our first show in January 2024, we each made a few resolutions that would help us improve our connections to Bangkok and even offer a modicum of self-improvement, which is never a bad thing. So on this show, we're going to look back at those resolutions, discuss whether or not we managed to do them and improve our connection to life in Bangkok, and also talk about how Bangkok itself might actually be playing a role in making it more difficult for good-intentioned people like Ed and I to keep our promises. So we're going to jump right into it, Ed. What do you think of this? You reminded me that we made some resolutions.
That's right.
I didn't even remember them.
First off, I don't even want to do the show because I'm so embarrassed at how badly I failed. So this is a bit painful. Because I remember being so optimistic, especially about Thai language, which I've mostly miserably failed at, which I'll talk about on the show, that I really almost don't want to do this. But the way your intro is perfect, you were like a bit of introspection, which, introspection, it tends to be painful. It's rarely like sunshine and roses.
That's right. Well, if you don't criticize something, you can never improve it. And that's what we say about Bangkok. The reason that we sometimes criticize systems or things in Bangkok is because we want them to improve for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think this is kind of a funny topic because in general, of course, when you don't live up to your New Year's resolutions, you got to blame yourself first. So I don't want to be negative, but all of you out there who have resolutions for 2025, you are probably going to fail. You. Personally, it's on you.
You don't want to be negative, eh?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be too negative, but I want to keep it real. And I guess that's what our show is, keeping it real. So the bottom line is, I like your spin on it, that we're going to talk about how Bangkok might make it hard to keep these resolutions. So I like your spin because it takes a little bit of pressure off me. I don't feel as bad.
Well, I agree with that, but I'm also going to push back. Ultimately, the ball is in our court.
Yes,
and the blame lies squarely on our shoulders.
Definitely.
But that's not to say that it isn't a bit more of an uphill battle here than it would be back home.
I'll tell you this: we decided not to make this show about new resolutions because we're going to keep it a little more private this year. But I'll just be honest. I'm not giving up on Thai. So basically my resolution for last year was learning this PDF of 9,000 Thai expressions. I can't remember if I promised to learn them all, but that was going to be my working document, and I'm going to stick to that. So we're going to talk about how I mostly miserably failed at this, but I'm not giving up. Just because you have failed at something 1,000 times, Greg, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try again.
That's right, man. Just like Thomas Edison said, I haven't failed 1,000 times. I've just found 1,000 ways that don't work.
Well, that sums up my Thai studying experience. But why don't you remind listeners what your resolutions were last year?
Sure. Do you want to go through these like one by one? You, me, or me, you? Or
let's do that. So pick one of yours and talk about if you did it or not, and if you did not, why not?
Okay. Well, I wanted to do this first one because I thought it would really help me improve, like I said, improve my connection with Bangkok and its history, which I'm kind of a geek about. And I said that I was going to watch a movie called The Overture and read a book called The Falcon of Siam. The Overture is a movie about, I believe it's like in World War II, about a classical Thai musician.
I remember us talking about this. Yes, I remember us talking about this.
Yeah. Right. And The Falcon of Siam is a very famous book about the true story of Constantine Polkon,
that's right,
I think his name was, who came to Siam in the court of Ayutthaya in the 1500s or 1600s,
right,
and had adventures and shenanigans. Well, I failed completely. I did not watch The Overture, and I did not read The Falcon of Siam.
So basically your resolution was to kind of brush up on Thai history, more or less, with these two specific examples. Now, you did read some fictional historical novels, or at least made some headway.
I did, yeah. I did read the first book in a trilogy by Paul and Yongrat Waddell, two of our favorite guests who have been on the show twice now. And that was very, very cool. But we did discuss how we both learned about the history of the South from that. So, I mean, I don't want you to beat yourself up. So you did not read this particular book and you did not see this particular movie, but you did brush up on your Thai history a bit. Yeah, you're buoying my spirits here a little bit. Yeah, I failed that specific resolution, but in the overall general aim of it, I think I did okay. And I'll touch on that in another resolution I made as well. So I'd give myself a 10% pass on this one.
Okay, a 10% fail, not a 0, just 10%. Well, I might as well get it over with. Actually, two of my resolutions had to do with improving my Thai. One was to focus on this super cool PDF, which I mentioned before, which you can just Google. If you Google, actually I might even be up to 10,000 now, but if you Google 10,000 useful Thai expressions, there's a free downloadable PDF. And it's just, these are expressions that are meant to be useful. So these are not academic type things you might find in a Thai textbook, but everyday ways Thai people speak. And my resolution was to study those in a particular method. And then also my second resolution was to watch the top 10 best Thai movies of all time with Thai subtitles. And I basically failed both. I mean, I feel it might be somewhat similar to yours in that I made tiny headway in each of them, but just never stuck to it and never progressed. But when I go back and look at these things, I'm like, this is the right idea. It's like
fantastic.
That's it. Like, this is exactly what I should be doing. And then I failed to do it. I mean, and if, again, you have to blame myself first. I mean, is there something about Thailand that makes it hard to do this? I mean, it's just what we kind of said before. The bottom line is that if you just have basic Thai, which you and I have, emphasis on basic, you're kind of very functional in Thailand. So the only pushback I get about my bad Thai is from other foreigners who say, how long have you been in Thailand and you can't speak Thai fluently? But Thai people never say that.
That's a really good point.
They never say it. They're always they're always saying like, wow, you speak so clearly, your 20 words that you know. So it's funny.
It's passive aggressive.
It's funny, again, it is our fault. But there's really nothing in Thailand that's pushing me to do it. So not my job. The women who work in my office, they all speak English. My students, my program's in English, so I'm not even supposed to be speaking Thai with them. There's really nothing. There's nothing in my life in Bangkok other than my desire to open up the vista of interaction. So I agree with you. I agree with our buddy John. Everyone who Stu J. Everyone says your life will get better in Thailand if you speak Thai better. I thoroughly agree with that. But the weird thing is, if you have in all honesty, I probably have a couple hundred Thai words. If you have that, there's really nothing poking or prodding you. It's really up to you to do it.
Right, exactly. It's 100% driven from your internal motivation. There's no external forces pushing you.
Apparently I suck. And so, but
it's funny. I had a very good friend of mine, who I went to high school with, was in town with her husband over Christmas. And we had a couple of days together, which was lovely. And we were talking about life in Bangkok and life in Thailand and all the ups and downs. And I said, like, a lot of people where we're from in Canada, they have a very negative view of immigrants.
Yes.
And like, I can't understand how you could move here and not even speak the language.
Right.
If you live in a big city, it's really easy not to speak the language.
That's right.
Don't criticize unless you've seen it from the other side.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's something we rarely talk about, but, maybe the West is a little bit different in that just because of the happenstance of where we were born, there's just a lot more people who speak English. Maybe it's a bit weirder that if someone can't speak English and they can't speak Thai, but the situation is essentially the same. That a lot of people, when they move to a new community or new country, they stick to their own community. So they might know someone might have basic English, but they're hanging out with Thai people in the U.S.
Right.
Yeah. And again, their experience of the U.S. would be better if their English was better. But it's just, we're just creatures of habit and we're lazy. But yeah, I got to put it's just a fail. And I think focusing on this idea that it really is on me. Like, I cannot expect anything in Thailand to be pushing me in that direction. It is on me. And, when I look back at like why I failed, it's like it all comes down to me being in a groove where I just have certain daily habits and I'm just in that groove. And I just have to bust out of that groove. I have to stop doing what I'm doing. And I just have to say, whatever it is, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 hour, I just have to destroy my current schedule and just commit whatever that is. Like, for example, you did it. I mean, I don't want to steal your thunder, but you started your archery thing. And then, so now it's in your schedule. You just committed a certain amount. You just committed the time to it. It busted up your previous schedule and you just committed to a new one.
That'll be a great t-shirt we should make. Destroy the groove. Bangkok.
Destroy the groove. I mean, honestly, that's what I need to do. I mean, I guess I am complacent. I mean, it's weird. What's the difference between happy and complacent? It's like, I think I like my life. I dream of these achievements, but I don't need them. I don't need them, So
that's right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Am I happy or am I complacent? I don't know which one I am, but I refuse to give up on learning Thai. I'm telling you, when I'm on my deathbed, I will be saying, I still might learn Thai.
All right. Time to crack open that 900 word document I have.
I'm not giving up, man.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, yeah, my second one, like you mentioned, was to take up a hobby. And in the conversation we had in January of last year, it was either going to be Japanese archery, which is called kyudo, or knife making, blade making.
Oh, that's right. Okay, wow, this is just, bringing back memories from 1 year ago.
Right. So it turns out that I actually did decide to do kyudo. And I joined the...
Damn you.
I joined...
You kept up one of your promises. That's horrible.
Yeah, that's right. And I joined the Siam Kyudo, which is the kyudo club in Thailand. And I've been doing it for, God, I guess about 6 or 8 months now. Maybe a bit. Let's say 6.
Now, are you making progress?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, like a lot of Japanese martial arts or any kind of Japanese cultural extension, it takes a lot of time to make sure you get the very basics right. And with kyudo, it's all about the stances and the movements and the vocabulary and the placement of your feet and the structure of your back and your pose and where your eyes are looking. It's crazy complex, way more than I thought it would be.
Right.
I've been doing it for, say, 6 or 7 months. And about a month ago, I got to practice with a bow. Not an arrow, a bow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that. So you mean this whole time you haven't been using a bow?
No, we've been using like little practice elastics that you hold in your hand. It's like a little mini bow.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, you're right. I mean, that is very Japanese to take every detail and take it so seriously. Oh, I didn't know that. So now
that was part of what I like about it is because it's almost like meditation. Like you're
serious, right?
Shooting a bow, shooting an arrow is not even really what you're doing. It's more of like
a mental exercise.
The whole picture is a mental exercise to control every element of what your body is doing. So anyway, it's really cool. And when I started, there was one other Farang guy there named Wolfgang, but really nice guy. But he eventually dropped out. So now I'm the only foreigner there.
Oh wow!
And there's probably about 15 or 20 other Thai people who are taking it. Now, I'm just talking about my learners class. When we go to the dojo, over onto the side, there's probably 5 or 6 foreigners and then probably about another 10 Thais who are all shooting arrows. Like they're experienced. They're actually
senior people.
Yeah, senior people. So, but everyone that I talk to, most of the people that I talk to, most of the students I'm with, and all of the instructors speak pretty good English.
Gotcha.
So.
Now, has because it's a Japanese thing, I noticed that when I did yoga back in the day, I did learn a little bit of Thai from the instructors. So I learned how to say Hai Chai Kao and Hai Chai Ok, which is breathe in and breathe out. But a lot of the vocab I picked up were Sanskrit words. So I mean, are you picking up more Japanese or more Thai when you do this?
No, I'm picking up mostly Japanese words.
Right.
Because when they do the instruction, it's almost all in Thai. And then they sort of come over to me afterwards and they're like, okay, so what I was talking about was blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wait a minute. But I'm confused. You said you picked up more Japanese than Thai. So
yeah, because when they're talking in Thai, I'm not really listening. Like,
I see.
I'm watching, but I'm not really listening.
But then they come over in English with Japanese words.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
I get it. Okay.
So all of the stances have a word like Ashibumi, Dozukuri. The bow is called the Yumi and the arrow is called the Ya, things like that are just sort of thrown out. Like, so when you pick up the Yumi, things like that. So that's how you learn.
Cool. Well, I mean, if the bottom line is you succeeded. So this is I gotta give it up to you, Greg. I'm going to give you the polite, I'm going to give you the golf clap.
The golf clap.
There you go. You deserve it.
I like it.
That because I'm on my resolutions, I'm basically 0 for 3. So you might end up being 1 for 3. You may end up being 1 for 3, but that's better than I did.
Well, part of it was also for this resolution is to increase my social circle of Thai people because for years and years we've complained about how we don't know any Thai men really. And
right.
We don't have a lot of Thai friends, but that's nice. Now I haven't hung out with anyone yet from this group, but as I get better and better at it and join the real people actually doing it, then hopefully it'll be more of a social thing. But so far everyone I've met has been really, really nice, and it's really cool to see a new group of people that I get to see once a week.
You rule. Greg rules.
Yay me.
All right. Well, my other resolution besides my 2 that related to Thai, my second was watching the best Thai movies with Thai subtitles, which of course I failed to do. I think I downloaded a few of them, but haven't done it. So we just have to shove learning Thai over in a corner. My other resolution, I made a much more serious attempt at, but ultimately failed. So we did a show on third places, the idea of how most people have a home and a workplace, which are the first two. But a key component of happiness is having a third place you can go and hang out. And this is one of the reasons why you wanted to do the hobby thing. And now at least you have another crew of people, your kyudo people.
Right.
So I have already have a couple solid third places, my blues bar and my film club. But I really wanted another one. Because what I realized is, could people ask me all the time, why do you stay in Bangkok so long? And the truth is finding new things. So my experience, I have some old friends like you, but there's 3 or 4 times in Bangkok where I just took a left turn and started doing something I wasn't doing before. Like I've got a yoga period. I did it for 3 years, and I found various new things, and I really wanted to find something else. And my plan was the gym. My plan was to combine fitness, which is a classic New Year's resolution, with a social scene. And I did talk about this on the show last year. I did join a gym near my house, and it's basically 100% Thai. So I never saw another foreigner in there, in any capacity. And I went regularly for about 3 months, and I just never met anyone. I mean, I occasionally chatted with a couple guys there, but then I didn't see them again, or it's kind of like what you said before. I do think it's harder to make connections with Thai men than Thai women. And it also could have been just this particular gym, or the fact that there were just no other foreigners there. It just meant that there's none of that international vibe. A lot of people forget, I think both tourists and expats, we have to remember that there's about, what do you think the number is? I think a half to 2/3 of Thai people, I wouldn't say they don't like foreigners, but they're not acclimated to interacting with foreigners, and they'll avoid us if they can.
Hey man, maybe there's a couple of Thai people right now recording a podcast going, this year I'm gonna
meet a white guy. I'm gonna meet
a foreigner, and I'm gonna start talking English to foreigners and get to understand them a bit more.
Well,
and again, it's we don't blame them, right? I mean, they're in their little rut, and
I think what I'm trying to do is not be an arrogant foreigner who just assumes that Thai people think I'm interesting. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I barely think you're interesting.
Yeah, I know. My closest friends barely think I'm interesting. My mom doesn't think I'm interesting. But you know what I mean? And so, because the Thai, again, I blame myself for not establishing another third place. But in this case, right, I do think there's some bit of Thai culture, Thai society going on. I mean, a local Thai gym, I'm not on Sukhumvit Road. I'm not somewhere where foreigners regularly are. I can blame my Thai. Maybe if my Thai was better, I could have made better connections. But I failed. And I still need another third place, but I don't think it's going to be a gym. Like the way kyudo is, you're not just going, hey, I'm going to go to the park and exercise. Like, you're there to learn this ancient art, and that's the bonding thing, which makes it a click.
There's also an incentive structure, because if I don't go to, I think it's 70% of the lessons, then I can't pass to the next level.
Oh, that's cool. No, exactly. Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I need to come up with a program. I need a philosophy.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Kool-Aid is good. I need to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Drink it down.
Heck yeah.
Bust that rut.
That's right.
Drink that Kool-Aid.
Find your own cult. That's maybe that'll be my 2025 resolution. I gotta find my cult.
The Bangkok pod cult.
That's right.
That's what we're. So yeah, that's a good one. Well, my final one was to spend more time at the Siam Society. And the Siam Society, for those who don't know, in Thai it's called Siam Samakom. And it's basically a cultural and historical organization that is royally sponsored, that exists to promote Thai culture and Thai things to the world. And it's very much a scholarly sort of place. They've got a library. They're people who sit on the board are all these eminent professors and experts in archaeology and textiles and languages and art and things like that. So it's a lot of eggheads sitting around. But they do a really good thing. They really promote some of the important parts of Thailand and Thai society and culture. And
man,
I've been a member for.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I haven't been there for years, and it just reminds me what we were talking about this on the bonus show. How there's certain places that we used to go to a lot, but we aged out of, and then we wonder if are they still a thing?
Well, these guys are still a thing, and I've been a member for about six or 7 years now, and I don't use them a lot, but I do like to have it on hand, and I like supporting them because I like what they do. But this past year, I did make it a point to use them a few more times. I did go to a couple of discussions and talks that they held at their place on Asok Road, and I did go on a couple of study trips. And every few months, they organize these study trips, and
cool.
It could be something as simple as like, we're going to visit 4 temples in Thonburi today.
Right.
Or it could be something like, we're going to look at some archaeological dig in Kathmandu.
Right. So hardcore. Some of them are hardcore.
Bit out of my budget range. I think a lot of the members here are sort of retired.
Sure.
So they have the time and money to do this. But so I did go on a couple of these, and I'm really glad I did. So I think this resolution of mine is a success. I have made more of a use of the Siam Society this year.
Cool.
And let me tell you something that I learned about Bangkok. I joined a study trip, and they went to see 3 or 4 different temples in Ratanakosin, the main area around the Grand Palace. And I'll tell you what, and there was a full day, and we were led around by someone who's like a professor of history, archaeology, Buddhism, or whatever. So we got a really in-depth explanation of all of the why it was built and when it was built and who built it, and this means this and that means that. So it was really cool. But I'll tell you what, one thing I learned about this is when you have friends coming to Bangkok, I always tell people not to visit the Grand Palace because it is undeniably beautiful. It's great. It's grand.
But it's crowded and
It's so crowded, dude. But I'll tell you what, on this study trip, we went to 2 places that have now become 2 of my favorite temples to visit in Bangkok. First one is Wat Benjapopit.
Okay.
And within walking distance of that is Wat Sutat.
Oh, I know Wat Sutat. I know Wat Sutat. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So Wat Sutat is right by the Sao Ching Cha, the giant swing.
Right.
And both of these temples are the same like ranking as the Grand Palace in terms of their importance to Buddhism.
Oh.
But both of them are almost totally deserted.
I see.
No one there.
Oh, this is good. This is a good insider tip then.
It's great, man. And, neither of them are as ornate or as beautiful as the Grand Palace.
Right.
But they're pretty gorgeous and they're pretty beautiful. And there's no one there. So that's what I tell people. Skip the Grand Palace, go to these 2.
Now, let's be accurate here. Now, you did spend more time at the Siam Society, but did you go there dozens of times?
No, I went to probably 2 or 3 different talks, and I went on 2 study trips.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay, I'm going to give you credit. I was gonna nickel and dime you and say that only counts as half a resolution, but I guess that's okay. That's enough if you went on 3, 4, 5 things. Man, you're so basically I'm an 0 for 3, and you're a 2 for 3. You're making me look bad, dude.
Well, I guess the resolution next year is to make me look bad.
That's right.
Resolution.
Yeah, I mean, your resolution has to be, I need to take Ed into account when I make my resolutions, and I don't want to make him look bad next year.
My resolution is a loaf.
I have to lower my standards so I don't make Ed look bad.
That's right. So let's just finish this off by saying I kind of think that keeping resolutions like this is a bit more difficult as a foreigner who lives in Bangkok, because like we said, as a foreigner in Bangkok, you're already in your little bubble. You're a foreigner in Bangkok. That's your identity. And it's just like the lifestyle here is a lifestyle that doesn't require you to bust out of your bubble and try something new. It's very, very easy to stay in your assigned bubble. When I was living back home, I didn't feel like I was in a bubble. I was just in my city. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's a very good point. I mean, we have done shows back in the day about like the expat bubble, and I think you're exactly right. So I mean, we can blame the situation we're in, but it just reminds us that it's really up to us. Like, it really takes effort to bust out of that bubble.
Right. And the bubble is a total, falsified construct that we just sort of place on people. So it's not like it's a real thing that we have to get permission to leave.
Right. But it is totally up to us, because because you're in a foreign place and with our limited Thai, those are like just these barriers or obstacles that are there all the time. That it's just the easiest thing to do is just stay in our expat lane. Right. Stay in the lane, man.
Exactly. So I think Bangkok makes it a bit more difficult to do these things, but that's still no excuse.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Well, we ask our listeners to send us a voicemail using our little microphone button on our website if they have something to say. And this week we did get a voicemail. We got one from our pal Vinny.
Oh, cool.
And Ed, you're going to want to listen to this one because he has a message for you.
Cool.
Hey, Greg and Ed. Vinny from New Jersey here. So, Ed, I've been thinking about your last Love, Loathe, or Live With. And I'm not one to high road, but perhaps this is an opportunity for you to learn to read Thai. And perhaps it should have been a live with, being that that is an option. Now that the high roading is done, I would say that if you have Google on your phone, you can just use Google Lens, point it at the label, and you will be able to see all of the ingredients in English on your screen rather than having to peel the sticker off. So there's a little hack for you. All right, guys, have a good one.
Wow, Vinny, that actually was a twofer. So the first thing you did was make the obvious point that I need to improve my Thai, which is exactly, he's actually backing me up, because what I said earlier in the show was that it's always foreigners that are poking me to improve my Thai. It's never Thai people.
Exactly.
So
Jesus, dude, get on it.
Yeah. So he proved me correct. But his second point is also very good, because I always forget now that Google Lens will do live translations. So for years, I've been taking pictures of stuff and then putting them through Google Translate, which is an extra step, which I often feel like I don't want to take the time to do that. But actually, he reminded me that it actually can do it live now, which is super, and it's only going to get better, of course. It's almost like an augmented reality thing that, that you can just point your camera at something and it's gonna overlay. In this case, it's gonna overlay English. So, Vinny, I appreciate it. A twofer. You can't do better than that.
Yeah, although I will say, Vinny, I mean, you should know how much of a Google slut that Ed is.
No, it actually makes me, it's something that I should, I know that Google can do this now, but I'm still stuck in the old take a picture, import it into Google Translate. I'm like stuck in that mode. I gotta break out of that.
And then once you decide to buy, you go and pay with a check. You pull out your checkbook and write on it. Like, oh,
that's right.
That's right. The times. Oh, good. That was good. Thanks, Vinny. We appreciate that.
Okay. A final thanks to our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, BangkokPodcast.com on the web, or simply BangkokPodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages.
That's right. You can also listen to each episode on YouTube. Send us a voicemail through our website like Vinny did. We'll feature it on the show. Hit me up on Blue Sky at BKK Greg. Thanks for listening, everyone. Happy New Year again. I'll see you back here next week.
Absolutely. Test.
Testing. There's some background noise. My noisy son slamming doors and stuff. I gotta teach him and my wife to this. When you're living, well, you live on your own, so you don't have to worry about this. But when you were married, when you opened the door, like when your wife is sleeping, did you like turn the door handle and then open it and close it, or did you just like close it like ka-chlam?
No, of course. You have to go slowly and not make a sound. Just awareness of other people.
It's just an unknown rule in my house.
Thai, I mean, again, generalizing, but I think Thai people are kind of bad at awareness of other people. This is part of the problem with walking on the street. It's like they're just oblivious that there's other people who are trying to move forward.
Yeah, the amount of times, someone's walked right into me like they're walking in a straight line, and then they decide to zag right or something just as I step past them. They're like, oh, and then I'm the asshole because I'm aware of my surroundings.
It's so funny.
Let's complain a bit more.